Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We have an amazing guest today who is going to join us at VVV TV to share his experience about being a speaker and a leader. Please welcome our guest today, Mr. Peter Swan. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you.
You've been a member of Toastmasters for how long?
4 years.
4 years. And what was the decision behind joining Toastmasters? Tell us about that.
So I was actually on the golf course with Greg Bruce, who is a former member of Valley Voices and Vices, and he approached me because I told him I had a passion for public speaking and one day I wanted to become a public speaker, and he gave me a business card and he said, "Here, come check out Valley Voices and Vices Toastmasters." My initial reaction was, just like I feel like other people in the room here have, what's Toastmasters? So I decided to come and join, and I've been a member for about 4 years, joining in May of 2015 and officially ending my tenure here today.
Wow, that is exciting. So 4 years. I know that you are an adept public speaker and you have been in competitions. Can you tell us, for the audience, what is the greatest skill that you have learned in your journey of being in competition for speaking?
So I have competed in pretty much every contest that is out there in the Toastmasters community. Everything from the international contest, which is my favorite, to the humorous contest, which I took from the club level and went all the way to the district level, giving a speech about being a millennial, titled Generation Why Me. I've competed in the evaluation contest. I've competed in Tall Tales, which was actually my first contest when I joined Valley Voices and Vices. But the greatest lesson I've learned when it comes to competing is basically to not give up. Oftentimes we're afraid to take that initial step into competing because we're afraid that we're going to be judged. And how is the audience going to react to the speech that I give? However, what it does is it teaches you to fine-tune your speaking skills and become a more effective speaker. For example, I look at one of our audience members here today, Peggy Prince, who gave a speech at the area contest titled Fire and Ice, where she spoke about being a dancer and her journey through being a dancer, and I've seen her grow in leaps and bounds, and I think that's a great testament to competing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to focus on something else that you just mentioned about being a millennial with your speech. Because I think that we want more people to hear about Toastmasters, and I hear it a lot that people ask, what's Toastmasters? We're a worldwide organization in 145 countries, and still people don't recognize our name. How do we attract more millennials to our organization?
That's a great question. I think one way that they've tried to attract millennials to Toastmasters is through Pathways, which is a great program. It's been rolled out. I think it's been fully rolled out or about to be fully rolled out. And it's quite unique. However, if we take a step aside from Pathways and we understand millennials at their core, they're very short-term. I think they're very more like, and we've had Cynthia, for example, talk about millennials versus baby boomers here, and they're very like, if it's not working for me, I'm going to go on and do something else. And we have a millennial here today, I believe, Matthew, if I'm correct on that. And I think what would be important is to understand what's important to Matthew, because he's the lifeblood of Toastmasters at its core, because he's going to continue to rise through the ranks of Toastmasters, being one of our youngest members here in the audience today. So I think it's important to understand his perspective, but from my perspective as a millennial, I think what's important is the ability to look at how it applies to more of a professional standpoint and how it can get me to where I want to go as a professional. I think that was one of the greatest benefits that it gave me from that millennial perspective.
Absolutely. So let's go there. I think that's a great segue to my next question, which is, what is one of the greatest benefits that you have taken away from your Toastmasters experience to your professional life, your professional development, your career?
Well, besides communication and leadership, which I think is at the core of joining any Toastmasters club, I think the greatest benefit that I've actually taken away and I was thinking about this last night, actually, is the relationships that I've built within the club, and how it's allowed me to better understand people from more of a emotional intelligence standpoint and understand what's important to them. I was thinking about the club last night, and a lot of the members that I'm gonna miss, and I'm trying not to get choked up here. And just how this club has meant the world to me. I shared it last week. You know, I shared the story about Maria and how she changed my life for the better, telling me not to give up 2 years ago, and when I wanted to give up, and how you've been, in essence, like a motherly figure to me, and how George has been the peanut gallery over there. But also how George has kept me motivated, and you know, every time that I come to this club, and Brian with his, you know, leadership skills and his efficiency, right? And bringing his sons, and Peggy, I've seen you grow, and we have 2 distinguished guests here today, and you know, Kevin, humorous, and Kim, I know you're going to do great as an area director, and Alicia, one of our newest members, but one of our most passionate, and Jennifer, I was thinking about that. I think you're going to actually do great in a leadership track here within Toastmasters. You're very passionate, and I think I could actually see you as president of Valley Voices and Vices here very shortly, so I think you're going to do a terrific job. And Cynthia, I'm going to miss our, you know, our superhero discussions. And Matthew, you're the youngest member, but I see a bright future for you. And Shara, guest, thank you for attending today. And I think relationships, I think that is the greatest thing I'm going to miss about, you know, this club, but also how it's allowed me to take that into the professional world and you know, understand what's important for people and how to bring that out of them. So.
Absolutely. One of the things that we will miss at Valley Voices and Vices, I think especially, are some of your wonderful stories and your elaborate and adept responses to our themed questions. Can you, in closing, since we're running out of time today at VVV TV, share with us your most poignant memory of your experience here at Valley Voices and Vices?
Besides the first day that I attended the club, sitting in the back and wondering what the heck is this all about and what's going on here. And besides walking in today and knowing that this is my last meeting and taking this memory with me, and besides relationships, I think one of the greatest memories that I had was the opportunity to step in as president of Valley Voices and Vices. And I can remember when the gavel was passed to me when we were being sworn in as president, or you know, our officer role of the club, and the responsibility of stepping into that role, because I stepped away and I took a private moment, and I got a little choked up because this club has truly helped me become who I am today. You know, I was able to, in my first international speech, talk about my mother passing away and the impact of that, but through that find healing in the relationships that I formed in this club. And then my father leaving last year, and how I felt alone, but I had that sense of community, and I was able to come here and find that here within the club. So I think just the relationships, again, that I've built in this club, and I think for anybody out there, that's one of the most important aspects of this club, is the relationships and how that will propel you to who you want to be in the end. And the finish line is right there, and we're going to cross it, Maria, right? So thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Peter. And on to your